proud owner of the 57 Rebel. What's the history on the Rebel, Larry, from AMC?
They built this car in 1957. They took their largest engine, which was a 327 cubic inch V8 that they used in the Nash Ambassador and the Hudson Hornet, and it was their own engine, nobody else's. And they installed it in this car, and they put a lot of options on it, practically everything in the book, and they called it the Rebel. And there are a number of historians who say that this car is the first muscle car, Rambler.
This was considered the fastest car that year, wasn't it?
Right. Motor Trend did a road test on all of the factory hot rods in '57, and the Rebel did 0 to 60 in 7.5 seconds with 2 aboard. And the only car that had a faster time than that was the fuel-injected Corvette. So you could say this is the fastest metal-bodied car in 1957. And what's peculiar, not peculiar, but interesting about this car is that it's the only unibody car that was built in 1957, other than the Nash and Hudson. And it had a full coil spring suspension with a high-mounted coil spring on the front, which is similar to the McPherson strut. Nobody at that time built a car like that then. They all used body on frame. Well, nobody makes a family sedan today that's body on frame. They're all unibody with full coil suspension, McPherson strut type front end. So this was, you could say, a piece of history, and it's the way cars are built today. They came standard with a lot of different options. Power steering, power brakes. They had special flanged brake drums for better cooling. Dual exhausts were standard. Overdrive transmission was standard equipment. And hydromatic was an option. What else did we have? Oh yeah, a whole list of options like padded dashboard and sun visors, windshield washers, backup lights, all standard, and of course reclining seats. They were all standard on the 57 Rambler Rebel. The only options were air conditioning, the Continental kit, and Solex glass, and some type of some special tire. I don't think they even made it. They were rumored to have fuel injection. A few of them were built, but they really didn't put them into production. So it is a piece of history that nobody really knows about, but there are automotive historians out there that say this was the first muscle car. If you define it as a compact car with the company's biggest engine, it's definitely the Rambler Rebel because it was the only compact built.
And they all were four-door hardtops.
They're all four-door hardtops based on the custom four-door hardtop with special trim. They're all painted this color with bronze anodized aluminum on the side. And they all had the spinner hubcaps. This car has an added, an aftermarket tachometer on it. But yeah, we think it's a piece of history, and they made exactly 1,500 of them, and they're sequentialized. This one is number 596. This is the famous Rambler 327 V8, not to be confused with any other engine of the same displacement of which you may have heard. This engine came out in 1957 model year. That other engine didn't come out till '62. This is a good engine, has a 4-barrel Carter carburetor on it, and it came with dual exhaust as standard equipment. And this particular car has overdrive on it. And power brakes were standard. Power steering unit is down here. This is a bypass oil filter. And you can see the windshield washers. The heater was standard on the Rebel, optional on the other cars. It's a very good heater. They sold the patents to General Motors to use this heater, and they got the use of GM's Hydromatic from 1950 to 1957. There's a couple things I didn't mention about this engine. It's identical to the 327 that they used in the Nash Ambassador and Hudson Hornet, except for a couple features. One thing is they did not use the hydraulic lifters. They used mechanical lifters, which they took out of the 250 cubic inch V8. Same camshaft and everything. And also they shaved the heads about 50 thousandths to give it a half a point more compression. The Nash Ambassador engines had 9 to 1. This has 9.5 to 1. But they didn't change the horsepower or torque ratings. They were still the same. 255 horsepower and 345 foot-pounds of torque. And the Rebel engines, it's hard to see here, can be identified. The both cylinder heads, the intake manifold, and the water manifold are stamped with RR for Rambler Rebel. just because they had to machine everything differently. When they shaved the heads, they had to remachine the intake manifolds and remachine this water manifold. And you can barely see the RR here on the water manifold.